Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira
So you recite the verse one time.
Yes.
Aham hi Krishna riyamano bhavadbhyam.
Aham hi Prishtoriyamano Bhavadir Bhavan
Nava patanti atmasamam patatrinas.
Nava Patanti Atma Samanpadatrinas
Tatha samam Vishnu gatim vipaschitaha.
Tatha Saman Vishnu Gatim Papaschitaha.
What for what? Aham,
Aham,
my humble self.
my humble self.
He certainly.
He certainly
Prishta,
Prishta.
asked by you.
asked by you.
Aryamana, as powerful as the sun.
Aryamana, as powerful as the sun.
Bhavadbhi, by you.
Bhavad be by you.
Achakshe,
Achakshe
may describe.
may describe.
Atma avagama,
Atma Avagama,
as far as my knowledge is concerned.
as far as my knowledge is concerned.
Atra,
Atra,
here.
here.
Yavan,
Yavan,
so far.
so far.
Nabha,
Nabha,
sky.
sky.
Patanti,
Patanti,
fly.
fly.
Atma samam,
Atma Samam,
as far as it can.
as far as it can.
Patatrinaha,
Patatrinaha,
the birds.
the birds.
Tatha,
Tatha,
thus.
thus.
Samam,
Samam,
similarly.
similarly.
Vishnu gatim,
Vishnu Gatim,
knowledge of Vishnu.
knowledge of Vishnu.
Vipaschitaha,
Vipaschita,
even though learned.
even though learned.
The translation purport by Divine Grace. Basic Vedanta solution. O rishis who are as powerful O Rishis, who are as powerfully pure as the sun. I shall try to describe you the transcendental pastimes of Vishnu. As far as my knowledge is concerned, as the birds fly in the sky, as far as their capacity allows, so do the learned devotees describe the Lord allows. The Supreme Absolute Truth is unlimited. No living being can know about the unlimited by his limited capacity. The Lord is impersonal, personal and localized. By his impersonal feature, he is all-pervading Brahman. By his localized feature, he is present in everyone's heart as the Supreme Soul. And by his ultimate personal feature, he is the object of transcendent loving service. By his fortunate associates, the pure devotees. The pastimes of the Lord in different features can only be estimated partly by the great learned devotees. So Srila Suta Goswami has rightly taken this position in describing the pastimes of the Lord as far as he has realized. Factually, only the Lord himself can describe himself, and his learned devotee can also can describe him as far as the Lord gives him the power of description. Okay, so this verse saying Krishna is unlimited, we are limited. How much we can know about the Lord? The Lord's glories are also ever expanding. Ananta Sesh is speaking the glories of the Lord, and he has not come to the end. Since time immemorial he is speaking, and he has not come to end. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitam eva tat tat eva vakachatva mama tejo anshu sambhavam. He is saying that whatever I have described to you is only an ansha. Mama tejo ansha sambhavam. My glories are unlimited. So Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita his glories to a certain extent. So Suta Goswami here is saying to all the rishis that, as far as I have realized Krishna, I will describe to you, because Krishna is unlimited. He is inconceivably powerful and inconceivably glorious. So how much can I tell? But just as a bird can fly in the sky according to its limited capacity, the sky is vast, but the bird can only fly a certain distance. After that, it cannot keep flying and flying and flying and flying. The sky is vast. The sky is like Krishna, and the bird is like the devotee who is trying to measure the vastness of the sky, but cannot do because the bird is limited. Similarly, Krishna is great, so great that we can't even conceive. Prabhupada says we cannot conceive Krishna, but we can surrender to Krishna. We cannot conceive all the glories of Krishna. Of course, we want to know more about Krishna, but we can only know as much as the devotees are describing and as much as Krishna reveals about himself to us. But Krishna also says, how much can I tell you? I am unlimitedly powerful, unlimited. My opulences are unlimited. So how much can I tell you? So, but we can always surrender to Krishna, that Supreme Lord. And by surrendering to Krishna, Krishna also reveals himself more and more in our heart. Like in the morning we sing, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. The transcendental knowledge is manifest in the heart by the mercy of the spiritual master who is the representative of Krishna. So, Yasya Deve Para Bhakti Yatha Deve Katha Guru Tasya Dehi Katita Artha Prakashite Mahatma. For those who have implicit faith in the spiritual master, in the pure devotee of the Lord and Krishna, then all the purports of the Vedas are revealed in the heart. So Krishna will reveal everything in the heart. He also says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Apyanvide. The condition is that we engage in his loving service. So when we engage in his loving service, then Krishna will reveal himself to us. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavit grahyanindriya sevan mukhe hi jivado swayam eva surakyada. Krishna cannot be known by our blunt material senses, but service beginning with the tongue reveals Krishna. So Prabhupada said, you don't have to do anything. You just use your tongue in Krishna's service and the absolute truth will reveal itself. And the function of tongue is two things. One is to taste and to speak. So you chant Hare Krishna, speak about Krishna, and taste Krishna Prasad by these two activities. It's a very pleasing way, right? And it's very pleasing to chant Hare Krishna. I mean, if you are getting taste, at least Kirtan is very nice. Japa also become nice. And so Krishna will reveal himself more and more. So that is the understanding. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about himself, but in a very concise way. But when the devotees speak about Krishna, because they have so much love, they can speak volumes and volumes about Krishna. Sometimes it is said, Krishna does not like to blow his own trumpet. How much he can? You don't like to speak too much about it. But when the devotees who love Krishna, they can speak volumes. So we have Rupa Goswami, we have Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. They have written books and books about Krishna. Krishna has told about himself in a brief way, but because devotees love him, then they want to speak and speak about Krishna. So, yeah, so when somebody has love for Krishna, they will talk about Krishna, they will chant about Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Machita Madgata Prana Sushyanti Charam. Machita, their consciousness is focused on me. Chitta means conscious. Machita Madgata Prana, they have made me the goal of their lives. Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parastaram. So they are enlightening one another Parastaram. And Kathayantasya Mam Nityam, always talking about me. Like in Vrindavan, they always talk about Krishna. Right? The gossip is also about Krishna. Krishna did this, Krishna did that. Here gossip is bad. Oh, what did that person do? What is the scandal going on? So many things. They are gossiping. Newspaper is looking for such thing like that. But we have to just change the subject matter. You just talk about Krishna. Oh, Krishna stole butter today. Krishna did this mischief. Even if it's bad in a much more moral sense, it's bad. Krishna stole the gopis' clothes. But that is purifying. That is the difference. If you talk about the people of this world, then it's useless. Politics and all these things, we are talking about all the... So we become... And whoever you talk about, whoever you hear about, then your mind gets attached to that person. Parasparam Pathanam Pavanam Bhagavadyashaha Mitho Ratil Mitho Tushti Mitho Nivrittir Atmana. It is described that the devotees, by talking about Krishna, Parasparam Pathanam Pavanam Bhagavadyashaha. This is very purifying by talking about Krishna. And in this way, Mitho means together. Together the rati, the attraction develops. Mitho Ratil Mitho Tushti. They feel satisfied. And Mitho Nivrittir Atmana. They become detached from sense gratification, which is the root cause of all miseries. So, just by talking about Krishna, by conversing. So, Prabhupada wrote to Jayapataka Maharaj, if you have time, then chant Hare Krishna. Save time and chant Hare Krishna. So, we have to mold our life in such a way that we have time. We have time to sing all these Vaishnava bhajans, we have time to chant about Krishna, and then go and tell others about Krishna. So this is the idea. So Krishna is so great that he is pervading every. Prabhupada says, as a Paramatma, he is in everybody's heart. The Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Krishna is present in everybody's heart, and not in everybody's heart, but in every atom. Andantarastha Paramanuchayantarastham, he is present everywhere. And as impersonal Brahman, his energy is present everywhere. Mayatatam idam sarvam jagad avyakt murtina. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, by me in my personal, impersonal form, I pervade the entire universe. So Krishna is present in his impersonal form everywhere. And then the devotees, they actually realize the personal feature of the Lord and they render service to the Lord. So, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvamit jnanam advayam Bhagavan iti shaktate. The absolute truth is realized in three phases which Prabhupada talks about. Paramatma, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So, Bhagavan being the most complete realization of the Supreme Lord. Because God is person, so ultimately the ultimate issue. Okay, so I will not go on speaking, I can speak, but we want to hear from all the devotees. So turn the camera, whoever is speaking, you want to see.
Any thoughts on this verse?
If you have, then go forward.
Yeah.
I was remembering the first verse of Shikshashtakam, which says, Shreya Kerava Chandra Vitaranam Vidya Vadhu Jivan. So by chanting the Om name, automatically all the knowledge comes, right? And then there is Gyan and there is Vigyan, right? In the what was it, fourth chapter, first verse? No, ninth chapter, first verse, right? Talking about confidential knowledge. Yeah. So we might have the knowledge, but the realization is different, right? Like Shravanam, we hear, then we do Mananam, then we Vithyasam, like we contemplate on what we have heard and then we apply it in our lives. That realized knowledge is different. One devotee was saying, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he was not literate. But he used to chant Hare Krishna, and from just chanting Hare Krishna, he could get all the knowledge, and everybody would come to him and he would be able to answer their questions and resolve their doubts.
Prabhupada said if you chant Hare Krishna, all answers will come from within.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking in this verse, he's saying that the learned devotees, describe the Lord as far as their realization allows. But we may not have realization, but we can repeat the words of the previous acharyas who have realizations. And while we do that, we are distributing that knowledge with that mercy of Krishna, how we are, in the preaching efforts, we will get that realization.
Yeah, I was also thinking about the points that you made about that Krishna doesn't like to glorify himself, so the devotees of Krishna will glorify. And then I was thinking of if you see all the pure devotees or all the servants or associates of Krishna, before even they start talking to Krishna, first they will have like 20 verses of glorification to Krishna, and then they will say, okay, now I want this, or now I have this concern. Even the Arjuna trees, Nalapured and Manipur, so they were also, as soon as they were uprooted, first few verses were just glorifying Krishna. So sometimes I wonder, what if Krishna comes to me and face to face, and first thing I say, oh Krishna, you're here, or like what will I say? So some pure devotee, we can learn from those devotees that how they are always thinking to glorify Krishna, and when Krishna comes, first they will glorify and then they will talk about their concerns.
Same thing we read in Brahma's prayers, the first verse is on Krishna's glorification. Right? All the devotees, they follow the same trend. They first start. Even Arjuna was getting a Brahmastra weapon towards him. Before asking Krishna what to do with this astra, he started glorifying Krishna. Even in that time of critical distress, he started first glorifying Krishna, and then he said, what is this that is coming now? What should I do?
Nice. Glorification of Krishna. Even Brahmastra is coming, still is glorifying Krishna first. He's not saying, Krishna, Krishna, this Brahmastra is coming. Take care of me, take care of the Brahmastra. Yeah.
We can go to the next verses.
Okay.
And the devotees are powerfully pure as the sun. So sun can evaporate urine, right? But the sun doesn't get contaminated, and the place becomes pure. So is the pure devotee. He is like traveling places of pilgrimage, just like bathing in the Yamuna, right, or Ganga. We become purified. Ganga doesn't get impure because of our sins. So with pure devotees, they being around us, all our sins are gone, and anarthas are gone, and we become purified with the presence. They are anyways pure. It says that when we take Diksha, Guru takes our sins, but Guru does not get contaminated with those sins.
Yeah. Like Krishna burns up all the sins, just the sun burns up all impurities. So the holy name is all pure. Sometimes people say, I'm eating meat. Can I chant holy name? Yes, I can chant holy name. how much, I was also thinking in this morning while I was chanting that, how much we like to be with Krishna, with Radha Krishna. That is determined by how much you like to chant the holy name. Because the holy name is Radha Krishna. Yeah, this is Hare. Last okay. So, how much we like to be with Krishna, because Krishna has come in this form of the name. So how much we want to be with the holy name, because holy name is Krishna. So how much we want to be with the holy name, to that extent we like to be with Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. So you cannot say, I don't like to chant the holy name, but I want to be with Radha Krishna. That, I mean, that doesn't work in this age, because the chanting is the, like, what if you say, the Yuga Dharma, and is the main way to purify our consciousness in this age. So, Nama Gane Sada Ruchi. So, ultimately, you can't attain love of God without attaining love for the chanting of the Holy Name in this age. Of course, any one of the 9 processes can give you perfection. Sravanam, Tar Madhya Sarva Shreshth Naam Sankirtan, Niraparade Naam Gaye, Paya Prem. So, we have to do only 2 things. We have to chant Hare Krishna and make no offenses. That's all. Chant Hare Krishna and no offenses.
Speaking of offenses, I think we should continue with
The
topic.
chapter is entitled like that, right?
Not this topic, just these verses. Like Pariksit Maharaj offends.
Offense.
We can read.
Huh?
We can continue to read.
We can continue.
So now we can just do translation and
Once upon a time, Maharaj Pariksit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Samika Rsi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes. I will read the purport. The Supreme Lord is so kind to his pure devotees that in proper time he calls such devotees up to him and thus creates an auspicious circumstance for the devotee. Maharaj Pariksit was a pure devotee of the Lord, and there was no reason for him to become extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty, because a devotee of the Lord never becomes perturbed by such bodily demands. But by the desire of the Lord, even such a devotee can become apparently fatigued and thirsty, just to create a situation favorable for his renunciation of worldly activities. One has to give up all attachment for worldly relations before one is able to go back to Godhead. And thus, when a devotee is too much absorbed in worldly affairs, the Lord creates a situation to cause indifference. The Supreme Lord never forgets his pure devotee, even though he may be engaged in so-called worldly affairs. Sometimes he creates an awkward situation, and the devotee becomes obliged to renounce all worldly affairs. The devotee can understand by the signal of the Lord, but others take it to be unfavorable and frustrating. Maharaj Pariksit was to become the medium for the revelation of Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Sri Krishna, as his grandfather Arjuna was the medium for the Bhagavad Gita. Had Arjuna not been taken up with an illusion of family affection by the will of the Lord, the Bhagavad Gita would not have been spoken by the Lord himself for the good of all concerned. Similarly, had Maharaj Pariksit not been fatigued, hungry and thirsty at this time, Srimad Bhagavatam would not have been spoken by Srila Shukdev Goswami, the prime authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a prelude to the circumstances under which Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken for the benefit of all concerned. The prelude therefore begins with the words, once upon a time. Okay, so Maharaj Pariksit as a Kshatriya, first of all, we can get this doubt. How is he hunting in the forest? Right? Because he's a king, he's a pure devotee, as Prabhupada said, and how is he hunting? He's killing animals in the forest. So, what is the answer?
It's Krishna's desire.
Kshatriyas do hunt for practicing their skills in fighting the war. And then there are sages in the forest who are disturbed by these animals.
Two things, yes. So saying that they have to deal with blood and they have to deal with the enemy. Kshatriyas have to protect. So they are allowed to kill the animals who may be disturbing also the sages in the forest. So that's why we are hunting. Is that good, valid, reason, convincing reason for them to hunt in the forest? Okay. So that is what Prabhupada says.
Some people also say that after hunting they would also eat so that they don't let that killing go wasted.
Oh.
There are people who say that.
This theory. Okay, that killing go waste.
Yeah, so they will take and then they will eat also. They say Pandavas also ate like that. No references.
I don't know if there is a reference. Prabhupada says that they eat also after killing. So that.
Is there?
No, I'm asking you.
No.
You're saying.
No.
Okay. But these are the two reasons Prabhupada gives in his books about why the Kshatriyas are allowed to hunt in the forest. Then Prabhupada says that pure devotees cannot be disturbed. They may be hungry and thirsty, but because they are hungry and thirsty, it doesn't mean they will become angry. Because they have full control over their senses. Normally when we are hungry and thirsty, then we can become angry, right? We are fasting or something.
Angry.
Huh?
Angry.
Hungry will make us angry, or we can do. But Prabhupada is saying here that generally pure devotees are not disturbed. They may be hungry and thirsty, but they will not do something that is against, they will kill somebody or something like that, or they will insult somebody. But this is an arrangement of the Lord. This is an arrangement of the Lord so that Bhagavatam can be spoken. And Krishna creates a situation for the devotee so that he can come back home. Also faster, and also other people can be benefited. So he creates a very awkward situation, as Prabhupada says, very awkward, very complicated situation for the devotee, so that the devotee feels, I have to take shelter of Krishna. Like Pariksit Maharaj was also already a pure devotee, but his absorption intensified because of this incident, that now he has only 7 days in his life and he is going to die in 7 days. The whole curse is going to happen. So that intensification of desire, Krishna wants to, like Narad Muni, he said, I want to make your desire intense, so that you will not be able to see me again in this life, right? Because so that you will hanker for me. Krishna left Vrindavan to go to Mathura to make the gopis' desire more intense to have him. Right? So Krishna creates a situation like that.
Also, a situation like we have no one but to take shelter of Krishna, like Draupadi was in the awkward situation, right? Or Prabhupada was in a situation where his business all got stopped.
Stop.
No.
That's also something, right? That if Krishna is favoring upon you, that means the first thing will happen is your material.
Tato adhanam tejanti yasya swajana dukkha dukkhitam. Prabhupada quoted this verse. He said, there was Krishna's special mercy on me, that everything collapsed so I could come to Vrindavan and take shelter of his lotus feet, and he took sannyas. We all got benefited because he traveled all over the world and we got benefited. So Krishna creates a situation like that because we are very attached to this material world. So Krishna shows us the naked form of material nature sometimes. So the devotee takes it in that way, that Krishna is creating this. Of course, it doesn't happen to like you and me. because we may live Krishna consciousness, but very great souls, they can take it like that. The miserable situation is also a mercy of the Lord. And so Prabhupada says, sometimes he creates an awkward situation and the devotee becomes obliged to renounce all worldly affairs. So that creates dependence on Krishna and frustration in one's life. So after this also Maharaj Pariksit was frustrated because he thought I did such a bad thing, But this was all under the influence of Yoga Maya. It is not under the influence of, like Arjuna was also put into illusion, but it was the Yoga Maya of Krishna that created that situation. Of course, there is a back history also about Jarasandha, right? That day he wore Jarasandha's crown. And what was the story about Jarasandha? They say, I don't know if
he captured Jarasandha and got all his stuff, right?
Hmm.
And the crown was lying in Pariksit Maharaj. So
Treasury.
Kali resides where it is gold.
Gold. So Kali may have influenced Pariksit Maharaj. Of course, this is also under the plan of the Lord. It is not like... So Kali also comes because it is the plan of the Lord that Kali Yuga will start. So that people who want to be in that situation, they are also given a chance to be in Kali Yuga. So we can have that kind of environment where we can enjoy and forget God and like that. So at the end of Kali Yuga, that situation will come also. Now there is golden period. So we are very fortunate. We are very fortunate that we have been born at this time when Lord Chaitanya's movement has just started 500 years back. So we are very fortunate that we have come in this time. So,
and it's the same Pariksit who heard Bhagavatam without sleeping for 7 days, without eating, without drinking. He could tolerate all hunger, thirst. In that case, how could he was not able to tolerate it?
good point.
So it was Krishna's arrangement.
The same Pariksit who was, she's saying, sat hungry, didn't eat anything, didn't sleep, didn't drink anything. For 7 days. Can you do that?
Shivam can do it.
Yeah, do it.
I can't even. The most I can't even stay awake for one entire day. So
Oh, you can do 1 day fast?
You
I
cannot
can
stay awake.
I can't even stay awake for 1 day. So I definitely.
Can you stay awake for 16 hours?
Yeah.
Hello.
Today he came from Bangla.
Yeah.
He comes every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Then chants japa also. Yeah. He has his beads also. It's all thanks to Roshan Prabhu.
How did you wake up so early?
Oh. Well, I don't know. It's just.
That's Krishna's mercy. Huh? Huh?
Yeah. And also once I just thought it was really weird, but once I thought it was like 9 o'clock like I usually did, but it was really 7 o'clock and I just got up because I had a sleep dream, so I got scared from the nightmare, so I woke up at 6 o'clock and then I just started tiring also.
Okay, so Prabhupada says if you want to go back to Godhead, you have to give up all your attachments in this world. One has to give up all attachment for worldly relations before one is able to go back to Godhead.
And devotees also turned, like one devotee was saying, converting misfortune into fortune. Like whatever misfortune has come upon them, they turn it into fortune by using that situation to the best way so as to come closer to Krishna. Same thing happened with Chitraketu Maharaj being cursed from Parvati getting with cancer, or King Indraduna getting cursed from Agastya Rishi becoming the Jindra. Right? The devotee knows that whatever has come about is a mercy of Krishna, and he's teaching me a lesson. How can I use this situation meditation is my best way to enhance Krishna consciousness.
Nice point. So Pariksit Maharaj used this situation to become completely, he gave up everything and he sat on the bank of the Ganges to hear about Krishna. So, one sense, okay, we may say he is unfortunate because 7 days he is going to die. He's not old. He's in his youth and he's been cursed like that. He's hunting, he's full of energy, and 7 days. Sometimes we think somebody has a short life. We think it's very unfortunate. But it is not about how we live. We live in deeds, not years. Bhagavatam says there are many trees that live for thousands of years, but they are not Krishna conscious. Like these redwood trees, right? 5,000 years they are living, but they are trees. They have no consciousness really. I mean, of. So Bhagavatam says better one moment in full consciousness than a prolonged life of sense gratification, which will not really solve the problem. Right? So little life, but very short life, but very Krishna conscious life, rather than a long life of no purpose and no. So anyhow, so that is, of course, we all want to live long, but so that we can chant Hare Krishna more, we can do more devotional service. I don't want to die because I am not completely pure yet. I want more time to become pure, right? But of course, Krishna has this.
We have 7 moments to live. So we should become serious.
Serious. Good point. So every day our life is going. Ayur Bharati Vai Pumsam Udya Ashtachan Chayanasho Tasyartha Yakshanonika Uttam Shloka Vartaya. Imperceptibly every day our life is decreasing. We don't even realize how time is going. So we should not waste time. And sometimes I think 20, so better to do nicely now so that 20 years later I will not regret that, oh, I did not do it properly, I did not. so like that. So we should use our time very nicely, because where are we heading? We are heading towards death. Everybody is heading towards death. And when it will end, we don't know. It's like a train running on tracks. And the tracks, after some time, there are no tracks. The train is running. So what is going to happen? The train is going to pass. So like that, our life is going, but at some point there will be no more. So like that, considering death, and we have to purify our heart. So anything else in this?
So we have about 10 minutes more. Do you think we can?
10 minutes?
What's at night then?
7:45 to 8:30 is generally when we have.
Okay.
Now we are following, like Prabhupada's style, how he would give class for like 30-40 minutes. Also for people. generally.
Then we can have discussion. Discussion after that. After
40.
After 8:30 or 8:45 we have discussion.
No, that's
Done. Okay, that's fine. 1826, right? And he was situated in a trance, apart from the three: wakefulness, dream, and unconsciousness. So there are Sushupti, Turiya, Swapna, and Jagrat. These are the 4 stages. Sushupti means deep sleep, really equal with the Supreme Absolute. So he was in his original Swarup, you could say. Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. It appears that the Muni in whose hermitage the king entered was in yogic trance. So he was hungry and thirsty and he was looking for some water or some food. So he thought there is a in some cottage here, I will go. Maybe the Rishi will give me some food and water. So with that idea in his mind, Pariksit Maharaj entered in the hermitage. The transcendental position is attained by three processes, namely the process of jnana or theoretical knowledge of transcendence, the process of yoga or factual realization of trance by manipulation of the physiological and psychological functions of the body, and the most approved process of bhakti yoga or the engagement of senses in the devotional service of the Lord. So jnana, yoga and bhakti, Prabhupada is saying, we can attain the transcendental position. Jnanis, they attain the Brahma Jyoti. The yogis, they realize the Paramatma, and bhaktas, they realize the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. But of course, the bhaktas, they have the highest, because other positions are not eternal. Realization yogi or going to the Brahma Jyoti is not eternal. As Brahma says, right? Yanni arvindaksha vimukta maninas tvai yashta bhavada vishuddha buddhaya aruya krichena param padam tataha patanti yato anadvita yusmadam grahaya. He says, the impersonalists, after going through so much austerity, they think they have become liberated and they go to the Brahma Jyoti. But because they have neglected to serve the lotus feet of Krishna, they fall down. Aruya krichena. Krichena means with great austerity. So in the Bhagavad Gita also we have the information of the gradual development of perception from matter to a living entity. In the Bhagavad Gita also we have the information of the gradual development of perception from matter to a living entity. Our material mind and body develop. The mind is giving us an identity and we are thinking I am that I. So when we chant, I was thinking this morning, when we chant, this is my family, we are servant of Krishna. That is how we should chant. As Kratu Maharaj says, when we chant, we should take sannyas. We should take sannyas. Forget everything, at least for that 2 hours. Forget everything, all the things about this world, just you and Krishna. Without, other than the holy name, there is nothing to be had in the 14 worlds. So, at least for 2 hours, we should be vyavasayiping. Prabhupada says, where is the question? We should be vyavasayiping. Prabhupada says, where is the question of mind? You chant, it is the activity of the soul. You tell the mind, this is not, you chant, it is the activity of the soul. You tell the mind, this is not your activity. This is the soul's activity. It is a cry of the soul to Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada said like that. Don't bring mind in between. You chant and you hear like that. So the soul also has a mind, spiritual mind, which will give us spiritual rasa. Spiritual. So when we can think of Krishna, that is also nice. If we can chant and we can think of extra benefit. Why should I do this benefit? What will I do? First, mind doesn't allow you to sleep early. Right? And then the mind doesn't allow you to wake up early. So it is doing all the things that are not favorable for bhakti. It is already... So how we should be angry with the mind, yeah? Because mind is crazy. If I listen to my mind, I will go to hell. Because mind is conditioned. So I cannot listen to the mind all the time. If it is giving good advice, yes, I listen. That's when intelligence comes in and says, the mind is saying, is this good? This is bad. Sometimes we get carried away by mind. I know. But we have to discriminate and make our will power strong. So, our material mind and body develop from the living entity, the soul, and being influenced by the three qualities of matter, we forget our real identity. We forget who we are under the influence of the three modes of nature. The jnana process theoretically speculates about the reality of the soul, but bhakti yoga factually engages the spirit soul in activities. The perception of matter is transcendent to still subtler states of the senses. The senses are transcended to the subtler mind and then to breathing activities and gradually to intelligence. Beyond the intelligence, the living soul is realized by mechanical activities of the yoga system or practice of meditation, restraining the senses, regulating the breathing system, and applying intelligence to rise to the transcendental platform position. This trance stops all material activities of the body. The king saw the Muni in that position. He also saw the Muni as follows. So he was in Samadhi. Yam Niyam Asana, Pranayam, Yam Niyam Asana, Pratyahar. Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan in Samadhi. So Pratyahar means you withdraw your senses from all this going out. You sit in a proper position, asana, control your breathing. So he had done all that. And now he had come to the stage of Samadhi, where he was absorbed in the Lord. So he had no connection with the external. He was completely absorbed in. So Indriyani Parani Ahu Indrebhya Param Manaha Manasastu Para Buddhi Yo Buddhe Paratastusa. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, senses are gross. Above the gross senses is the mind. And Prabhupada says the intelligence is even subtler than the mind. Then above the intelligence is the soul, which is even subtler. So as we practice this Ashtanga Yoga, which is not recommended in this age, we go from the gross matter to the subtle. And Prabhupada says it is the perception of matter is still translated to subtler states of the senses. And then we go to the soul level, the spiritual platform. And then we see the super soul in the heart. So that is what this yogi was experiencing. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Arjuna is asking Krishna, what are the qualities of a person who is in transcendence? How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he speak? Right? He's asking the question on our behalf. So, how does he sit? How does he speak? How does he speak means not whether he speaks English or Hindi or Gujarati or Telugu or Punjabi. How does he speak means?
How does he respond to ups and downs in life?
How does he react to different situations in life? How does he speak means what is his reaction when somebody insults him, somebody praises him, somebody is indifferent to him? What is his reaction? How does he speak? How does he react to that? So like that, Krishna then ultimately says that one who withdraws his senses from the sense objects and only exhibits them when necessary, like a tortoise. So our senses are very dangerous, but if they are employed in the service of Krishna, then they are like
Serpents with broken.
no, they are serpents with broken fangs. Senses are like serpents. Tar madhya jivayati lobhamaya shudurmati sharira vidyachal jadendriya tahe kal. This body is a lump of ignorance. Sharira avidyachal. It's a network of ignorance. And my senses are leading me to death. That means all this, it's killing the desire for self-realization. All the sense gratification is killing my desire for self-realization. And of all the senses, the tongue is the most difficult to control. Right? That's the actual meaning. So, if you don't control your tongue, you can't control other senses. So, like when everybody is fast, right? It's controlling the tongue. Right? Control. Then in prasadam also, you eat in moderation, just as much as is necessary. Although it says, let's eat to our full satisfaction. That Radha, Krishna, Barodaya. Yeah, it's good, but even if you eat too much, then you have bhalo na khaibe, bhalo na grame katha na kahibe, grame katha na shunibe. Of course, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami, bhalo na khaibe, bhalo na karibe. Don't dress very opulently. Don't eat so much opulent thing. And Gramya katha na kahibe. Don't gossip. Don't speak gossip. And don't hear gossip. Gramya katha na kahibe, gramya katha na shunibe. So,
one who goes here and there to satisfy his very enjoyments
will not attain Krishna. So, if you are running here and there just to satisfy our belly and genital, even that can mean like going to restaurants, and some people say, oh, I will go to that restaurant, I will go to that restaurant. So, this restaurant, new restaurant in town, have you been there? Sometimes in my work they will say like that, have you been there? That's very nice. You are running here and there, not eating Krishna prasadam also. So if you don't eat Krishna prasadam, it's very difficult also to control the senses. So that's also there. And we are eating sin. Yadna shishta shina shanto muchyante sarvakri vishay bhunjate tavakam papa pachanti atmakarana. So like that. So we have to control the tongue, chant Hare Krishna, and senses will become controlled. Okay, we'll read one last verse, or we are done.
You can stop.
We'll stop. Okay.
So next Saturday can be 27 to 31.
Yeah, you want to say? Anybody want to say? So most difficult thing is to control the senses and the mind. So it all begins with controlling the mind. The mind, if mind is controlled, then super soul is already reached. Krishna says in the Bhagavad. So mind, because mind does not find pleasure in bhakti, so it is conditioned, so it is finding pleasure in other things.
and senses can be controlled by reading the
Krishna says. We have to engage, like Nitai Shan Prabhu is engaged in cooking and doing service, eating, dressing, and so many services he's doing all the day. Then Krishna lunch will be there, then this and that. So,
Picnic.
picnic is there. So, all the time engaged, we will keep engaged. An idle brain is devil's workshop. So if you don't have anything to do, then mind will say, okay, go there, go this, go that. So, if we can give up all our material desires before we give up this body, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, such a man is happy. In the Bhagavad Gita there is a verse like that. One who can give up all his material desires before giving up his body is in a happy situation. So desires, nobody can force to give. I can't force you to give up your desires. But by hearing the problems with these material desires, what is going to do? It's going to give you another material body. Another material body means another death. And we are reading this chapter in the Bhagavatam on the birth, another womb we are going to go. So if you don't give up your material desires, then you will go with these material desires to your next life. But because we have done Krishna consciousness, we may get some human life. So even human life is not good. Again you have to do all this struggle. Right? Again, go through all this. So, that's how. Of course, Mama Janmani Ishwar, we were here saying in the morning. But they don't have material desires. That's why he's saying, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. We are transmigrating because of our material desires. The great soul coming because they have no material desire. They just, because Krishna wants them to deliver, so they are coming. But we are not in that situation that, we are free from, or at least I. So we have to become free and